You want me to come in a bit?
What's going on, guys? It is MadManPlant, and we are here at the 2026 American Autoflower Cup, and we've already started doing interviews. And you never know who you're going to meet when you're in California. We just ran into Dan Harrer, and he is here now on the podcast for a couple minutes to talk all about cannabis. Great to see you.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
I get to enjoy now both brothers because I live in Virginia and your brother lives in Virginia, and I see him at shows. So this is very, very cool.
Yeah, I love my brother. I miss him. I wish I had more time to spend there.
Well, tonight we are here at the American Autoflower Cup, and if he was here watching, he would be so proud of some of these growers and some of these entries.
There's some great flower here.
So talk a little bit about you're here. Why do you support the American Autoflower Cup? Where were you coming out for? You know, what do you look for in these competitions?
Well, for me, I look for just making introductions in the community, looking at, what the new products are, where cannabis is going, and really just seeing how diverse the plant is becoming with regards to how we're using it, how we're growing it, how we're showing it, and how we're expressing ourselves with it.
Now, growing up, obviously, your dad's a legend and somebody that people still talk about today. His viewpoints and his mythology behind the plant, how do you see the generations going forward adapting to that? Do you see a lot of his pioneering in the future still, like with their ideas and their processes?
Well, my father was at a totally different time. He was an advocate activist. Today we have advocate consumers.
Yeah.
So it was really a different time. The community was different. There wasn't open economic development. Everybody was still trying to figure out how to be part of cannabis and not get caught for cannabis.
Yeah.
And in the last 20 years, actually now the last 30 years since Prop 215, it's really changed a lot. I think a lot of his views, a lot of his ethics are still part of this community. It's why this community is so tight. But the economics does change things. Sometimes it changes people. And people make choices based on their needs, not based on necessarily the community. Not that it's all bad. It just depends on what that choice is.
Very true. Now, with those choices, how do you feel that the world is handling some of these choices when we look at all the things like Schedule 3, all the things with trying to go after seeds now, and all this other things?
Well, anytime the government gets involved in anything, I don't know of anything that they don't fuck up.
I would agree.
So when you talk about Schedule 3, when you talk about, regulations, even through, Prop 64 or any other initiative that's brought some change to the industry, the government will always try to manipulate it, change it, and make us subservient to ourselves and to them. Like we can't exist without them giving us guidelines, even though we know what our guidelines are. It should be, build the best opportunities for ourselves through commerce. At the same time, making sure that whatever we produce for the consumer is absolutely safe. But what the governments do is they don't think about medical necessity. They don't think about what's right or wrong. They only think about what they can control and how much they can take from that control. And if they thought that we were making an extra 2 cents somewhere, they'd ask for 1.75 of that 2 cents to make sure that we were still, we could still hold on, but just barely, as long as they.
Yeah, so you could survive. They'll let you bleed enough so you won't die, so you won't gain full consciousness.
Well, they never want us to have the power that putting a seed in the ground and being able to grow our own health, wealth, and security can do. They don't want us to ever have a true voice. They want us to only have the sounds of us screaming about how to survive, not about how we're thriving or how we're going to succeed in the future. Their sole goal is, as far as I'm concerned, is how to keep us hungry enough to keep sending them all of our money every month.
Yeah, well, I hope we get to a point where we can start really seeing the value of cannabis for its medical properties, its economical properties, with states doing record numbers, using that money as taxes to help build back communities. There's a lot of great things that I do see in the future, but I also see, like you talk about, a lot of people trying to fuck up a good thing, and I really love events like this personally because this represents a community that truly believes in this, lives for this, bleeds for this, grows for this. And to see the change, whether it's a 80-year-old woman or someone that just joined the cannabis community, we're all here for different reasons, but it's for one plant, and I think as we get forward in the future, especially with resources and everything, you have a single product that can produce over 5,000 textiles and produce different aspects to medicine that science can't even really still prove. And yet, we just have this hard on to take that away. It's too bad. I wrote an article called The Dope Show, and it takes Marilyn Manson's song The Dope Show and compares it to the marijuana industry in the sense that it's used as a commodity and it's rewarded and appreciated when it's in the public eye. And as soon as it's not, it's punishable. And it creates what I call the three P's, which is who can profit, who can participate, and who gets punished.
Yeah. And sometimes that's us.
Well, of course it's us. It's always going to be the little guy.
We are the ones that try to profit. We try to facilitate opportunity, and we seem to continuously get punished by ignorance and the stereotypical ideas that are continuously pushed into the community's ideology. And this misrepresentation of what this plant is, what this community is, who we are, to say that you were talking about taxation and being able to do things that benefit communities. I don't really see the benefits of the extraordinary taxation that happens within this space and where the return of that dollars goes to with the improvement of our general surroundings within those geographic areas. I really think it is I think it's just a money grab, because I think if we were able to take that money for ourselves and use it and put it into the community in areas that we feel would benefit, whether it's schools, whether it's music programs, whether it's just health and well-being centers, we could do it much more efficiently and more directly than the huge bureaucracies that are created that also have to be funded by that same tax dollar.
And then they have to pay their employees.
And then it trickles down to getting back to the community, which at that point is not really significant. But governments are always great to highlight how many hundreds of millions or billions of dollars are brought in, but the tracking of that money and the implementation and the return of that to the community is something that is so gray or so oblique that there's no real understanding of where it goes, and it's just hard to trust. It's hard to trust the voices of the people that have been elected to represent the voices of many.
Collectively from the Hare family, and especially on your dad's legacy, if you three all got together and you were put in charge, how would it work in a perfect world that makes sense to you? Like, what would we be looking at?
Well, one, I still think it would take somebody smarter than the three of us to implement the what happens in cannabis. But I would just say, do the right thing. Don't cheat. Don't lie. Don't steal. And love this plant the way that it loves us. It tells our bodies what we need. We ask a lot of this plant, and our bodies take what it gives us. And sometimes that's health and well-being. Sometimes it's just a smile. Sometimes there's a financial uplifting things that gives us the ability to survive without having to participate in the rest of the economic norms of culture and civilization. And it gives us an opportunity to really show that this plant is so powerful that it literally has the ability to change how we live in communities, how we live on this planet, how we can benefit from it
100%.
socially, spiritually,
Yes.
economically, and from a global health standard. We could have better air, we could have better oceans, better soil, better living conditions if we embraced all the things that cannabis could be a benefit to, like the products that we use, the clothing that we wear, the
Yep.
food that we eat. There's so many benefits. So by being able to really embrace cannabis to its full utility gives us an opportunity not to just to survive in the future, but thrive in it. And I think that's what my father's work really was embrace this whole plant, use it for everything that it can do.
Yes.
And let's live a beautiful future together.
Well, you got to get going because you got an alarm going off for your parking.
Yeah.
Thank you so
My
much
alarm
for
is going
taking
off.
the couple minutes with me. I really appreciate it. It's people like you, your father.